Welcome to the COPreneur Path Podcast.
Welcome to the show that is all about the path from cop to COPreneur. I'm your host, Adam Wills. With this podcast, I am going to help equip you for your own post-law enforcement entrepreneurial journey with lessons learned from my experience growing a successful post-Leo business. You'll also get to hear from fellow COPreneurs and experts in business and marketing whose advice will give you an edge against the competition. You are in the right place, so let's get after it. Welcome back to another episode of the COPreneur Path Podcast by LeoToCEO.com. I'm your host, Adam Wills, and I am here in the studio all by my lonesome today, just so I can talk directly to you. I want to ask you a rather pointed and direct question right now. Are you prepared to suck? Maybe you suck already. In fact, I would say you probably do suck at something. And in fact, if you do, you are in good company with me here today as we talk about being prepared to suck in your business and why it's important to recognize that A, you're going to suck, and B, that you need to be prepared to do so. Here's the thing, guys. I'm going to say I know. Here's something I know about you as a COPreneur. How do I know this about you? Well, I know this about you because I'm there too. As cops, we tend to have just a little hint of perfectionism. It's important for us to get things right? When you are in a daily environment where not getting things right can really mean the difference between whether you catch the bad guy or not, whether the bad guy gets prosecuted or not, whether you can protect someone else's life, save someone else's life, or whether or not you get to go home at the end of the day yourself. We tend to teach ourselves that everything really pivots on and comes down to our level of ability to perfect something. Well, let me tell you something that I think is going to be both a paradigm shift for you right now, but also something that might give you a sense of relief, an opportunity to take a big, deep breath and relax a little bit. The world of business, if you have left or are leaving law enforcement and are starting, growing, or scaling a business, the world of business is not that way. Now, yes, you've probably heard stories about people that have taken big risks in their business and they've lost it all. In fact, some of the entrepreneurs that I look to as my biggest mentors will all tell you a story. Maybe not all, but most will tell you a story where they sucked so bad at their business that they failed. They lost everything and they failed. But you know what? Every single one of them learned something from it, picked themselves back up, and now are people that are speaking into the hearts and minds of other would-be successful entrepreneurs because they themselves learned from their mistakes and became successful. And so let me encourage you just a little bit, knowing that the world of business does not have quite the same stakes for your perfection as your law enforcement career does. You are going to suck at specific things. Okay? The question is, are you willing to recognize that you're going to suck and admit that from the very beginning? And are you willing to do the things that you need to do in order to prepare for the things you're going to suck at? As I think back on my business over the last few years since I left my law enforcement career, my business has been incredibly successful. I have no complaints. Sure, I have things that I wish I would have done differently, and going back, yeah, maybe I would have done them differently. Or maybe, I just appreciate the battle scars and what those scars mean and how important they are in forming who I am now as a business owner, a business leader, and an entrepreneur. But the reality is, I've made a ton of mistakes in my business. I've sucked at a lot of things, and I'm still sucking a lot at a lot of things. When things really changed for me was when I was finally ready to recognize that I couldn't get everything right. I've always been the type of person in my personal life and in my professional life in law enforcement where if I set my mind to do something, I could always do it, right? Like there was just nothing really holding me back but myself. If I wanted to gain a new skill or perfect a new skill, I could generally do it. The problem was when I tried to apply that mindset to my business, I stretched myself too thin. I tried to add too many things. And that's the problem in business is there's so many things that need to be accomplished, that you need to do in order for your business to run and operate as a well-oiled machine and be profitable. You cannot possibly do them all. Maybe you can at the beginning, but you can't continue to do all of those things. I now run a team. I have approximately 10 people now that are part of my team that I would not be able to accomplish the things that I am doing without them. And what it took for me, the pivot point was recognizing that there were things I sucked at. And rather than saying, all right, I suck at those things and I need to perfect them and get better, I finally had to say, there's two buckets now. There's a bucket over here of the things that I need to be perfect at, and maybe some of them I'm already perfect at. And then also in that bucket are things that like I said, I need to be perfect at. And I'm going to go and I'm going to identify the skills that I need to stack. Go back and check out, by the way, I didn't mean to bring this up, but the skills that you need to stack, we talked about that. Go back and check out the episode that I did about skill stacking. I don't remember what the number was, but I am going to look it up for you right now while I am recording this, because it is that important for you to go check out. And that is episode number 44, 44. So if you go to leo2ceo.com and go to podcast, or if you want to take a little shortcut, you can go to cpp.fm. So it's CPP for COPreneur Path Podcast.fm. Okay, and that'll take you directly to the podcast page on the LEO to CEO website. There's a little search bar there. You can type in 44 for episode 44, or you can type in skill stacking, and it's going to bring up the episode Skill Stacking for Business and Professional Growth. Check out that episode. It is pivotal. Okay, so here's what the point I was getting at. Once I recognized this, there's two buckets. Bucket one are the skills that I already feel like I've already perfected or I'm pretty good at, and also the skills that I need to become better at. Okay. And so recognizing the skills that I have to stack. Then the other bucket, guys, is the bucket of things that I don't need to do. Yes, maybe they're important to my business, but I don't need to be good at them. I can suck at them because I am going to find someone else that doesn't suck at them. Or maybe it's just, I don't have the bandwidth, right? Either way, the point here, the conclusion you need to come to right now for your own business is to say, I'm going to suck. And that's okay. But rather than being a victim of fate and just figuring out as you go along what things you suck at, make a decision now to identify the things that you are going to suck at. Decide, I'm going to suck at this thing, and I'm going to therefore find somebody to fill that void, somebody who has already perfected that skill. And I'm going to bring them in and be a part of my team. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to hire people. Okay. So I don't want you to get this lump of anxiety of, oh my gosh, now I got to talk about health insurance and I got to hire people and I'm going to have to pay people a salary and a wage. No, there's lots of other ways to do that. Partnering with other people, subcontracting, through 1099 for your business. In fact, my business doesn't actually have any formal employees. Everybody that works for me is a 1099 subcontractor. And I don't honestly ever intend to have employees. That's not a headache I want to take on. But I had to fill those positions of things that I suck at. Okay. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, guys. There is a solution to this problem. Okay. Think about this in light of your law enforcement career. We do two things during our law enforcement career. I would say the first is we recognize when we first get the job, right? When we apply to be that new cop, that rookie cop, we apply, we don't know anything. In fact, you probably thought you knew a lot more at that time than you realize now looking back that you did. I know that's the case for me. But either way, you don't know a whole lot. And so what do? We stop and we take recognition that there are things that I need to learn, skills I need to perfect that I currently suck at. I am prepared to suck at those things, and therefore we go to academy, right? We go to the law enforcement academy, and we have an intensive period of time where we have other people who don't suck at those things help us grow those skills and become proficient, grow closer to perfection, because those are the skills that we need to have in order to be successful, right? And then we get into our law enforcement career and we continue and we grow and we continue that learning on the job. Imagine for me for a second, guys, if you applied to be a cop and you got the job and we're told, all right, yep, Adam, we want to hire you for our new recruit class, and you're going to come in on January 15th, and you're going to start your first day. You show up on your first day, and they toss you the keys to a patrol car, hand you a badge and a gun and a uniform, and said, okay, you're a cop now. Go figure it out. Have fun. This is your area you're going to patrol, right? That's just not how it works, right? We go pursue the knowledge and the skills that we need to have in order to diminish our level of suck. Okay. So now we go into our careers and we continue forward and we continue learning on the job, right? And what do we do when we recognize again? All right, now here's the next thing I want to pursue or achieve. Maybe I want to go become a narcotics task force investigator. Well, there's probably some skills that I need to learn. I need to learn surveillance tactics. I need to learn how to manage CIs. I need to learn how to process evidence. Evidence specific to that. Obviously, you know, at that point in your career, you've already learned how to process basic evidence, of course, right? But there are obviously more advanced skills that you need to learn. And so what do? We go to training, right? We go identify training that we can attend to eliminate our suck factor at those particular skills. Okay. That is what I want you guys to be focused on. That's what I want you guys to understand. You're going to have things you suck at. Don't pursue perfection in your business. If you pursue perfection in your business, two things are going to happen. One, you are going to burn yourself out. You're going to crash and burn and fail. You are going to feel like you are a loser, a failure, and you can't get it right. The second thing that's going to happen is you are going to miss out on opportunities for knowledge. Okay? We have to fail. We have to fail at things in order to learn. Right? I can't stress enough how many times I've gotten things wrong in my business, and not, if I'm being truly transparent here, not just for myself and my own business, but as somebody who coaches clients on their marketing and their business. I've gotten things wrong for them too, where, I think, hey, this is the right way to pursue something. And I've been wrong. And in those opportunities, we don't look at that and go, well, that was a failure. We look at that and say, that was a learning opportunity. We look at it and say, this now we know is not going to work. What is the next path forward? Guys, I have lost so much money in my business. I have squandered cash like you would not believe, trying things that didn't work. But you know what? I have no regrets about any of that, because in every single one of those times, what I have learned out of that has been worth the money that I have lost in the process. It has been an investment in my knowledge. It has been an investment in my skill and my ability. And so I want to encourage you guys to look at this in the same exact way today. So what can you guys do in order to recognize the areas of suck and pursue knowledge? Well, you need to, just like your law enforcement career, you need to surround yourself with a cadre, an FTO, a academy instructor, to help you eliminate your blind spots, recognize your weaknesses, and then build you up. Build up those areas of weakness. Of course, this podcast, as I mentioned in the opening, is sponsored by my private community, LEO to CEO. It's a private community of COPreneurs who are starting, growing, and scaling their businesses. And I want to invite you, if this sounds like something that resonates with you today, you're thinking, oh man, I'm really, I want to identify. I want to identify the things that I'm going to suck at, and I want to recognize that they are there, and I want to overcome those challenges head on before they become problems for me. Then I want you to consider joining LEO to CEO. Today, the day that you are listening to this podcast, it's the Monday before Christmas. So Merry Christmas to everybody, first of all, as you prepare for this holiday week and season. I hope that you get the time to spend with your family and friends. I hope you get the time to enjoy them. If you are still on the job, I want to thank you today for what you are doing for your community, what you do for this country as a whole. We still need good cops on the job, and I want to thank you for doing that. I want to thank you for, especially if you're working this holiday, I want to thank you for doing that. I've been there myself. I've worked Christmas and New Year's and Thanksgiving and kids' birthdays and all the other things out there myself. And I know the sacrifice that takes. And I want to thank you for doing that, so that me and my family can enjoy our Christmas this year and know that you are out there keeping watch, protecting my community. So thank you for that. To extend further gratitude to you, I want to ask you to go check out leotoceo.com right now. So just go to leotoceo.com. I want you to go ahead and apply to be a part of the community. It doesn't matter whether you are starting, growing, or scaling, like I said, your business. If you are even on the job still and have the entrepreneurial spirit and know that a business is what you want to do, you want to start a business at some point for your post-law enforcement career, even if that's 5 years away from right now, that is the minimum, guys. I'm going to tell you, you need 5 years to plan. If you really want to be able to jump out of the gate running and charging fast, having a profitable and successful business after you leave your law enforcement career, you need the time to plan. And there are foundational things that I'm going to, and the rest of us inside the community are going to help you put into place, so that when you are ready, that you are going to skyrocket your business right out of the gate. If you are scaling your business, you've been out of law enforcement for a little while, you're already successful, and you would be in the growing phase, but you want to go into scaling. There is a difference. If you want to scale your business, this is a community for you as well. There are COPreneurs inside the community of along this range, and we're all there to help each other. We do workshops to grow our skills. I want you to join. And today, because it's Christmas here coming soon, I want to give you a special offer. If you join LEO to CEO community and use this coupon code, Christmas 21. Okay, so the entire word Christmas spelled out, CHRISTMAS 21 for the year 2021. So Christmas 21, I'm going to give you 20% off your membership. There is an annual membership with LEO2CEO.com. It is $588 a year. It is not that much, guys, when you consider all of the workshops that we are doing and everything you get out of the networking with other copreneurs out of this community. You need to be willing to invest in yourself to grow the skills necessary to be successful in business. Okay, so I'm going to give you 20% off of that just for listening to this episode and joining. Merry Christmas to you. It's okay. You're going to suck. Get over it. Move on. Stack the skills you need in order to not suck, and enjoy your Christmas. Thanks for joining me for this episode of the COPreneur Path podcast. I really appreciate you guys. I really appreciate all my listeners. And can I just tell you that it means so much to me when I hear from you guys, even if that's just an email to say, hey, I've been listening and I really appreciate it, and keep putting out the content because it's helping me. Guys, that motivation means so much to me to get that from you guys, because podcasting is this weird one-sided thing where I get on here and I pour out my thoughts and ideas, or get on with a guest and we pour out. But if I don't hear from you, I wonder, is anybody listening? Is this actually helping anybody? And it just means the world to me when people reach out and say that it is impacting them, because it gives me the drive and the motivation and the fuel that I need to go and create more of this content for you. So if that's you, please, at the very least, shoot me an email, adam@leo2ceo.com. Let me know you've been listening and you enjoy the show. I would also ask you to go check out or to go review the podcast. So you can review the podcast on whatever platform you prefer to listen to it on, or you can just go to cpp.fm/review. So that's CPP for COPreneur Path Podcast, cpp.fm/review. And that's going to take you to a page that will allow you to review the podcast. That means so much to me. I read your reviews on the air when I get them. So please make sure you mention your name in your review, because sometimes your profile name that comes up doesn't actually match your name. I want to be able to say thank you to you by name when I read your review on the air. So make sure you do that, please. And thanks again. Appreciate you. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Hey, thanks for sticking around till the end of the show. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving a review at leo2ceo.com/podcast-review, or in your preferred podcast listening app. I would love to hear your feedback, and it will also help other copreneurs like yourself find the show. Be sure to check out the show notes for this episode. Just go to leo2ceo.com, click on podcast, and search this episode number, and you'll find all the links, descriptions, and resources we talked about. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe so you'll be notified when the next episode is live. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys on the next episode.